if you work for the US government, there's a good chance you're not getting paid. The world's biggest economy has run out of money. It cannot even pay its own staff because the US government has shut down. This shutdown has entered its 5th week. That means no salary for more than 1 million US military personnel, thousands of air traffic controllers, and even some lawmakers.
America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, and now broke as ever. The world's biggest economy can't pay its own workers. The US government remains in shutdown. For tens of thousands of federal employees, payday has come and gone, with nothing in their accounts. Let's start with the military. The Trump administration says it will pay troops today, using what it calls a mix of funds. A patchwork of leftover Defense Department money and emergency legislative reserves. The cost of paying America's active duty troops each pay period? About $6.5 billion per month. Reason, he said, a very bad hand dealt by the Democrats.
Congressional Democrats seem to want to keep the government shut down, even though it would mean that a lot of you would not get your paycheck. But as I told the president just a couple of days ago, I said, sir, we have got to figure out how to pay these Marines, both for their sake.
Vice President Vance says if the shutdown continues, it could be a disaster.
Look, it could be a disaster. It really could be, because at that point, you're talking about people have missed 3 paychecks. They've missed 4 paychecks. How many of them are not going to show up for work? These guys are doing heroic things to make it work as well as it possibly can, but every single person that I talk to a word, they are worried that the delays are going to reach a point where it makes it very, very hard for the American people to fly.
He called their work heroic, but even heroes have limits.
What would you do if the government responsible for your paycheck simply stopped paying you? Imagine waking up to the news that your country's most essential institutions have run out of time, money, and options, leaving millions of citizens uncertain about their next paycheck, their health care, their stability, their future. That's exactly what many Americans are facing right now. The U.S. government shutdown crisis is no longer a temporary political disagreement. For countless families, it has become a genuine economic emergency. Federal workers, contractors, and everyday citizens are now asking questions once unthinkable. Will I get paid? Is my job secure? What do I do next? And is there a better life somewhere else? But there's something even more surprising happening beneath the surface, something the mainstream media rarely highlights. More Americans, especially Black professionals and entrepreneurs, are looking toward Africa as a place of opportunity, growth, and stability. Yes, Africa, a continent once portrayed only through hardship, is now home to some of the fastest-growing economies in the world. Booming tech centers, emerging job markets, expanding industries, inspiring cultural reunification movements, countries actively inviting foreign talent and investment, while parts of the Western world experience political gridlock, rising living costs, and widening inequality. Many African nations are laying out welcoming policies, business incentives, digital innovation hubs, and diaspora citizenship pathways. And for thousands of Americans, the timing couldn't be more symbolic. America was once seen as the land of endless opportunity, the country where hard work promised security, stability, and a better future. But today, that image is cracking. Federal workers missing paychecks, government offices closed, air travel disruptions, food assistance delayed, millions unsure if the economy will collapse again. This isn't a movie. This isn't a prediction. This is the current reality of the U.S. government shutdown crisis. A crisis so deep that many Americans are openly asking a question they never imagined. Is America still the safest place to build a future? And here's the plot twist the media doesn't want to talk about. More Americans, especially African Americans, are leaving the U.S. and relocating to Africa than ever before in modern history. Countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Rwanda, Kenya, Botswana, and South Africa are becoming unexpected havens for people seeking stability, opportunity, affordable living, peace of mind, growing economies, a place where their cultural identity is celebrated, not questioned, while the U.S. battles a political meltdown. Africa is rising, quietly, rapidly, and confidently. And for many Americans watching the shutdown chaos unfold, the contrast is becoming impossible to ignore. During every U.S. shutdown, the same pattern emerges. Government workers go unpaid. The economy slows, worldwide trust in the dollar wavers, political divisions widen, communities struggle, but this time, something is different. This time, people aren't waiting for Washington to fix itself. They're not hoping for a miracle. They're leaving. African American YouTubers, bloggers, teachers, engineers, nurses, tech workers, and entrepreneurs are documenting their journeys. I found peace in Ghana. I built a business in Kenya with half the cost. Rwanda gave me stability America couldn't. I finally feel safe. The shutdown crisis didn't create the desire to move, but it accelerated a decision many were already considering. When American workers lose pay because politicians cannot agree, the message is simple: you are not a priority. Meanwhile, Africa is offering Diaspora investment visas, land opportunities, tech hubs growing faster than Silicon Valley, new manufacturing zones, affordable housing, cleaner, less stressful lifestyles, powerful cultural reconnection, rapidly expanding middle-class markets. The U.S. is experiencing shutdowns. Africa is experiencing liftoffs. The contrast is becoming too big to ignore. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. Americans are moving to Africa because 1. The U.S. feels unstable. Shutdowns signal political chaos and economic uncertainty. 2. Africa feels promising. A continent once underestimated is now becoming a global economic frontier. 3. The cost of living is lower. Stretching $1 is easier in Accra, Kigali, Nairobi, or Lagos than in New York or Los Angeles. 4. Identity matters. African Americans are finding empowerment, belonging, and cultural pride. 5. Opportunity is shifting globally. Tech, agriculture, manufacturing, finance, tourism. Africa's growth is outpacing expectations. While America freezes under political conflict, Africa heats up with innovation. By the end of this video, viewers will understand how the shutdown crisis is affecting millions, why trust in U.S. stability is fading, why Africa is becoming a preferred destination, the economic revolution Africa is building, why this migration is only the beginning, and how this shift could transform global power in the next decade. This story is bigger than politics, bigger than economics, bigger than migration. This is the beginning of a global power reshuffling that nobody saw coming. America is entering uncertainty. Africa is entering opportunity. And thousands of people are making a decision that once sounded impossible. I'm moving to Africa because America no longer feels safe. This is not fear. This is reality. And it's happening right now. For decades, America marketed itself as the most stable country in the world. A place where institutions work, laws are respected, government services are reliable, opportunities are endless. But a government shutdown exposes the weakness of that image. When the U.S. government shuts down, millions feel the impact. Federal employees stop receiving pay, airport security slows, national parks close. Passport renewals freeze, social programs face delays, economic confidence drops for the rest of the world. A shutdown is a clear message. If America can't keep its own government running, how can it lead the world? And for everyday Americans struggling with inflation, debt, housing costs, and political division, the shutdown becomes more than a headline. It becomes a breaking point. People start asking, why am I working so hard but still stressed? Why can't the government protect basic services? Is this really the safest place to build my future? For many, the answer is becoming no, and that no is pushing people toward a continent they once overlooked. Africa. Africa is no longer the continent people used to describe in outdated stereotypes. Today, Africa is the fastest growing population on Earth, home to 6 of the 10 fastest growing economies, a center for global tech, manufacturing, and fintech, attracting the world's biggest investors. But here's the twist. While Western countries talk about Africa, Africans are building Africa. New highways, megaports, solar farms, data centers, tech cities, and manufacturing hubs are transforming nations across the continent. Rwanda is one of the safest countries in the world. Botswana has one of the strongest democracies in the Southern Hemisphere. Ghana is a top destination for African Americans returning to the continent. Kenya is a global tech hub. Nigeria leads Africa's creative, entertainment, and tech industries. Africa isn't rising. Africa has risen. But here's where it gets interesting. The same time America faces shutdown chaos, Africa is becoming a symbol of stability and growth. African Americans are increasingly deciding that the U.S. can no longer offer what it once promised. And there are several reasons. 1. Stability and peace of mind. Believe it or not, many African Americans report feeling safer in African countries than in the U.S. Not because Africa is perfect, but because they feel less targeted, more respected, more culturally understood, more mentally free. Many say, "For the first time in my life, I'm not tense." The shutdown crisis only adds to that tension. When a government can't pay its workers, people feel unprotected. 2. Economic opportunity is shifting. While many Americans struggle to afford rent or buy homes, African nations offer lower cost of living, affordable land, business-friendly environments, fast-growing startup ecosystems. A teacher from Texas moved to Ghana and opened a small business. A nurse from Chicago moved to Rwanda and bought a home. A tech developer from Atlanta moved to Kenya and doubled their income. They didn't move because they were running away. They moved because Africa offered something America didn't. 3. Cultural connection and identity. The shutdown crisis forces people to rethink life. What am I doing here? What am I waiting for? What am I holding on to? For African Americans, returning to Africa is more than relocation. It's healing. Countries like Ghana have the Year of Return, which has brought more than 1 million diaspora visitors in just a few years. The sense of belonging is powerful. 4. America's instability feels permanent. Shutdowns keep happening. Political divisions keep growing. Economic pressures keep rising. Many feel America is repeating the same cycle, and they don't want to be trapped inside it. Africa, meanwhile, offers something rare: hope. The contrast is becoming impossible to ignore. In America, workers go unpaid, essential services freeze, political parties fight inflation, rises, social systems strain, communities feel stressed, youth feel uncertain, families feel insecure. In African nations are building new infrastructure, economies are expanding, governments are creating diaspora programs. Real estate is booming, tech innovation is accelerating, tourism is rising, agriculture and manufacturing are growing, investment opportunities are multiplying. One side is stuck in political paralysis. The other side is racing toward the future. This global shift is why many Americans, especially African Americans, feel Africa is the safer long-term bet. For centuries, people left Africa seeking opportunity. Now the movement is reversing. A new term is emerging: reverse migration. The return of the African diaspora to the continent. This includes African Americans, Afro-Caribbeans, Black British citizens, Black Canadians, Afro-Latinos, and yes, even non-Black Americans who simply want a fresh start. They are buying land, starting companies, building communities, and contributing to Africa's growth. This is not a trend. This is a new chapter in global history. Here are examples based on real testimonials people share publicly online. A U.S. federal worker who moved to Kenya said, "After the last shutdown, I realized I couldn't keep depending on a system that didn't value my paycheck." A nurse who moved to Rwanda said,